Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Biz Tips. Guys, I am super excited. Today, I have a really good friend of mine. I know her for years, back when I used to be in New York, New Jersey. She used to be in that same area. She's amazing. And today, she got so many gems she's about to drop. Tanya, what's up?
Woo, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you for jumping on. Really appreciate you coming on board. Listen, before we start and going through everything you've been doing, tell us about Tanya. Who is Tanya?
I recently had the guts to start saying, define the odds is my jam.
Talk to me.
And the reason is like, I thought it was kind of normal what everything I was doing. But if I started looking at some of the big life changes, even like my first company, growing it from over 1 million at 25 as a female in less than like 1 year, it was a big change. And if you think about it, it's only 2% of women actually do over 1 million. And then put in the factor, I was young at that time, still a young guys. And then, and then being a Latina, I'm like a smaller percentage. And then just my background and getting into the college I did. And then recently, my biggest one is having 2 kids. I was told,
congrats.
Thanks. I had an opportunity, I had a less than 7% chance of having just 1 kid.
Wow.
I'm very fortunate to say I have 2 kids.
That's a blessing. That's a huge blessing. So I have so much I want to unpack, right? Your first company, over 7-figure at 25. And being a Latina, where are you originally from?
My parents are Colombian. So that's another thing, you know, from coming from an immigrant family, it was like the whole thing. Well, my mom raised 4 kids on her own. I don't know how she did it, because here I am raising 2 kids. I'm like, damn.
Wow, that's amazing. So your family's from Colombia. You grew up here in the States. How did you even, go and start a business? Like a lot of us, growing up, it's get the good job. So when did that whole business thing just started coming out for you?
It's interesting that you said that, because even the school I went to, it was Wellesley College. It's known for Hillary Clinton and Madeleine Albright graduating from there, and so many other famous women. And most people graduate from there, become either investment bankers, doctors, lawyers, getting their PhD. And I wanted to work at a startup. But there were the opportunities of being a startup, though, like the bubble already crashed. It wasn't as like sexy still.
Okay.
And, I worked at a marketing agency back in the day where it was like email and all that stuff was like cost per thousand, right? There wasn't no marketing or performance-based marketing. And I kept doing really well. And I worked at small companies. So anybody out there who's looking at like when they want to start their thing, work at small companies. You learn so much because they need you. So they'll be like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then
it's new skills.
You have more skills. And I had lots of time to kind of dive into it. And then at 25, I was like, wow, I feel like I can run my own company. So I remember asking my mother, and I was like, I want to start a company. She's like, go ahead. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm scared I'm going to fail. And she says, well, you'll be exactly where you are now, working for somebody. I was like, okay, true. And then I go, well, what happens if I fail and nobody wants to hire me because of that? She said, you wouldn't want to work for a company like that. And then it made me realize I had nothing to lose. I did it. And I got really, I worked hard. And based on all the hard work I did before, I was like, started my company, and then lucky at 1 million. But the funniest thing is when I was at 1 million, and I didn't even think it was a big deal. And I kept comparing myself, thinking I should be doing more, better. And the funniest thing, I had no clue. It was less than 2% of women reached that.
Wow.
It was see? Worse back then.
That's amazing you said that, because sometimes us knowing some of these things hinder us down. So you not knowing anything and just going out there and do your thing really help you propel. Now, I'm curious, what was the company? Was it a e-commerce? Was it a B2B? Was it a service-based? What was that company that you built?
So we did a performance-based marketing agency. So we would actually look at companies and look at what their product was or what their lead. We build out their page, build out their funnels before funnels got popular, right? And then we would see if and we would optimize everything, and then we would send traffic to it, and we would get paid based on lead, affiliate marketing or
Yeah.
cost per acquisition. And so since
Gotcha.
we actually built everything and that was exclusive, once we got the traffic going, it was month after month. We just had to make sure that they were able to handle the traffic. So we even actually looked at the scripts of customer service, everything.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Now I want to go a little bit further here, right? You said that time you decided to start that company. Is it just you, or is it you and a partner? Did you build a team? Was it all independent contractor? How did you structure that?
So we did build out a team. I did have a partner, and then I did one of those things where we're still friends, but I did do a 50-50. I highly recommend not doing a 50-50. It's kind of like getting married, guys. Like, everything's great or not, but you gotta know that like things might get a little tricky, So luckily for us, our lawyers set it up where when we first started, we couldn't believe like $100,000, like that's a lot. So like we made it where whatever the company was, if somebody wanted to leave, they just had to pay $100,000. Now, how do you walk away from $100,000 when the company's making millions? It forces you to actually work really hard or come into an agreement that works for both people. But like, let's say you're not making $1 million and like the company's not doing well, 100,000 is a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it was this weird kind of number where it helped us to kind of work out in an amicable agreement because.
Gotcha. So if you wanted to exit, you just gotta, hey, here's the agreement, and then we can go our separate way. Now, what happened? Like after you grew it past 7 figures, did you end up selling it, or how did?
Yes, we ended up selling it. And then I also was doing a company called Spokesmoms too.
Okay, what's that?
And what it was a product review site for mothers, but based on their preference. So we were going back in like, okay, if you're a tall person, instead of going through all these products and looking through this stuff, here's what you need. Or like, let's say you want you're like the person who likes the high-end stuff. So we kind of made it where it was easy to do. Now, here's a crazy part about this. So here we are, we're about to go in front of all the movie theaters. We had a celebrity on board.
Oh, wow.
We were like the preview. There was that movie, What to Expect When Expecting a Baby. I forgot. It was a popular movie. We were about to go before the movies, the pre-screen. And we got like we were about to close on the $1 million funding and everything. And I backed out and everybody was like, what the hell? Then since I backed out, the investor backed out.
Whoa, what happened? Oh, you able to talk about that?
Yeah. So what ended up happening, I must have been in I can't think of the age. It feels like I must have been entering my early 30s. And I was like, wow, everybody on my team is married. And I have been like having like, it was either I was running marathons, working, or hanging out with friends in New York, but that was it. And I was like, if I do this, I probably won't have an opportunity to have family and kids because I know myself. I'll be like, I want to get it done. And I backed out because I was like, what is more important? Is it my ego, like growing this huge company, or actually having a life where I can actually have a partner and move forward and build that family that I wanted? And for me at that point, it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, I'm curious about your decision process for this because, one, being Latina, two, being super successful already and having that drive, right? What was the process, your mindset when you were going through and said, ooh, should I really do this? Were you doing like a pros and cons table? Like, how did you really determine this is going to be my decision? I want to focus on building a family and building a future, and I can always come back to this career thing. How did you go about making that decision?
So I looked into pros and cons and I really thought about who am I, right? So I really realized like, okay, I grew my first company and I didn't take anyone's money. That was based on like me working hard, and I was still working lots of hours, right?
Yeah.
And then here, taking somebody else's money and everyone relying on me and our team, I was like, ooh, I can see myself working so hard that I don't even go out, and my health, right? And I was like, I want that stress. And as you said, I've already had a successful exit. So like, this is more about like, ooh, I raised money and then I'm going to do a bigger exit. But then at that time, nobody makes you realize like, what do you lose and once you get there? So like, think about Olympic athletes. It's amazing, but like they miss out on a lot of stuff. Maybe,
of course.
like they're not going to go to a bar drinking. They're going to not gonna do that, but they do it. So, but for them, that was really powerful to win that medal, right? In the Olympics.
Yeah.
For me, that exit, you know what I mean, wasn't that big. And I actually valued the other moments more.
Gotcha. Wow. So after that, I know you had a group coaching program. And so talk to us more about that, because you're like a super serial entrepreneur.
So then what I'm doing now is Owners Up. And what our framework is like being an athlete, like I was running and I was training for a marathon, and I was like, wow, I've been a collegiate athlete and I've been in distance running like since I was in high school. And even if I'm going to join a marathon, like I was training for New York, and I just finished Boston, I still join a group of people. Why? Wow. Because it helps me move faster. I know exactly what I need to do, but with a group of people, I'm not being naive. I'm not saying like my willpower is amazing at all times. I know that. So when there's days when you have to run 18 miles, let me tell you, it's better to do it with other people. And when you need to do interval workouts, you think you're going to do better by yourself. Nope. When you're with somebody else, you always end up going faster. And
why is that?
It's just social, right? It's kind of like, have you been in a workout class? And like right now, my kids, 1 year just turned 1, my second. And I got to tell you, here I am in a workout class and I'm like hurting. I look around, I see some older people next to me, they're cruising. I'm like, I'm going to keep pushing it. But by myself, I probably would have said, oh, I'm good. It hurts, and that's what we do as entrepreneurs. Sometimes we justify things like that's enough when we can actually go further or even do it smarter. And then in those workouts, you have a coach looking at your workouts to see, oh, you could actually be training better. So it's all this data. So we basically created that for Owners Up. So you have a group of entrepreneurs, B2B service-based entrepreneurs, 5 people, and then you have a coach. And then we have a software where you actually track what you're like doing, what you accomplish. We take that data and we show you where you could be working smarter. And then that data gets sent to your coach, and then they actually coach you in real time. So you don't wait until the next call. It's like there might be a blind spot and they're like, ooh, there's a blind spot coming ahead. We need to change this up for you.
I like that a lot because it's based on data. Right. So it's, real data, real numbers, and you just got to adjust the data the right way to get to your result. There are a lot of different peer-to-peer advisory group out there that doesn't leverage data. It's more of the coach experience, right? Or the people in the group experience. That's good in a certain way, but it's not as good as when you're able to plug in your data in a system and then being coached based on those performance level. So how did you say, hey, I want to build that for the team? Was it like, how did you come up with that? How big is the group now? What are some of the success stories of some of the founders in the group?
It's exactly what I wish for. So even with my first company, I had all the weight on my shoulders, and I assumed that I had to have all the questions answered, right? So I would go into these forums and groups, but I have to admit, I'm not one of those people who's like, put everything out there, you know what I mean? So like, let's say I had to deal with firing an employee. I'm not going to go out in a forum and say, hey, I want to fire an employee. Like, what should I do? And the other groups were 12. An EO at that time, which is one where you have to be over 1 million, was all Caucasian and brick and mortar. And it's still mostly Caucasian. Like they're mixing it, which is great. So I felt like nobody understood what I got. And the people who did were, I guess, competitors. And I was a little nervous to admit that. Like, hey, I'm going through this. I'm firing this person. What should I do? And so I was like, wow, I wish I had a group of people that could answer these questions, and then a coach to be like, hey, this is okay. Like you can fire somebody, or you can leverage your time better this way. And so this is what, and then also like sometimes we're writing something and we think that it's not good enough. So we're like nonstop, almost in perfection mode, over analysis. And then if you can just have somebody right there, just kind of like say, hey, this is great. Or like, no, let's go through this. And you move, you save so much time.
100%.
I was like, that's what I built. And then
That's
so
awesome.
far, the members have been like amazing results. Some have actually doubled within less than 3 months. And it's literally
Nice.
getting them aware of where they're spending their time and how to leverage it better and
Mm,
opportunities. Because like
mm.
when you're super disciplined, sometimes you have like, think of it as horse blinders where you're
Yeah,
so focused and you don't see opportunities that can
yeah.
actually scale your business faster.
Zoning in. That's
Yep.
true. A lot of us get into that zone. I know myself, I get to that zone of genius where, you know, I can't see anything else. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's not so good because you're missing out the bigger picture. So having those coaches helping you is huge. Now, what would you say, right? For because our audience is a combination of upcoming entrepreneurs, they've been in business for a couple of years, and you have people that just started their business. What would you say is that small biz tips that you would share with any entrepreneurs that can really help them, go to that next level? That one tip that you would share before we wrap up.
Yeah. So the biggest tip, if you're starting a business, don't worry about your website. Don't worry about all of it. Get there
Thank
and
you.
start selling, right? Your network
Thank
is
you.
amazing. So come up with an
Yes.
idea. I don't want you to come up with like, oh, is my idea great? I want you to collect money. So what that means
100%.
is like, because everyone can say your idea is great. And then you think you have this
Mhm.
great idea, you build a website. But if you didn't collect revenue, it's just an idea
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. Until you have cash on hand and you
Yep.
have a customer, you don't have a business.
Yep.
So thank you for sharing that. Wow. Now, if someone is interested to learn more about Owners Up, what's the process for them to apply to see if they're even a fit? How do they reach out to you or your team?
Yeah, go to ownersup.com and you can also go, I'll send you the link. It's a
Yes.
goal prioritization because anytime, even when you're starting a business or in business, you have so many like all of a sudden you go to a networking event or an event and then you have all these ideas and you're like, which one's the best and what should I focus on? So we do this whole goal prioritization. So, this is the best one for the return on your time or investment.
Nice. Fantastic. Guys, definitely check out Tanya. She is amazing. She just gave us some crazy gem today, which I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely click on the link below and check out her site, Owners Up. I know some of those entrepreneurs, I'm telling you, they are amazing. They're top performers at their field. Tanya, anything else you want to share with the audience before we let you go?
Always remember that you can achieve anything, and especially if you have a success team, build your own team of accountability.
Let's go. All right, guys. See you on the next one.